Thank you, Sagar Group, for giving the opportunity. And let me share my screen.
So the screen is visible, sir.
Is it okay now?
Yeah, it's visible, perfectly visible.
Okay. So I am Sundar, CEO and founder director of Janani Foods. So before I get into the topic of the day, that is the new normal in agri value chain, and the collaboration is the way forward. And the model that we have developed is Janani's transformative agri-business paradigm, TAP in short, a consortium approach. So I will explain the consortium model that we have developed and the pilots that's being run now, kind of thing. So the journey, the vision and mission is to make farming profitable for small farmers. You have seen one side you have the farmers who are not happy, and other side making them happy is what we are trying to do, and also making farming profitable. So at the moment I use the word profit, obviously we are talking about farming as a business rather than as a livelihood or anything like that. So, and our strategy is to integrate and aggregate all agri-related products and services, and most importantly, adopting it and delivering it using new technologies. Having said that, just a brief of Janani's interaction. We have been in this industry, though started in 2003, but we have been very active only from 2015 and 16, predominantly in the state of Andhra Pradesh, and we are also operating in Telangana and Orissa also. Uh, the major breakthrough came to us in the year 2015 when the Department of Horticulture, Government of Andhra, as well as the Spice Board asked us to train about 20,000 farmers growing chili in the Guntur district and giving them advice on how to improve the quality using integrated pest management practices. So we trained about 20,000 farmers across 400 villages in the span of 3 to 4 months. The next year we also piloted what we can call it e-auction and marketing services platform for chilies in Guntur district, where the farmers come to our collection center and deliver the chilies which have been tested using a lab inside our own premises. And based on the quality, farmers were getting the right price. And we also added pre-processing services like sorting, grading, stem removal, etc., which was a very successful pilot. So just to brief little more, Journey is primarily in spice vertical. We operate in Guntur district for red chilies, both in Khammam, and we are also planning to start chilies in Odisha district also. Also turmeric, both in Andhra Pradesh as well as in Odisha. Uh, we are also now entering into the fruits. We have conducted a pilot for the mangoes, export of mangoes last year with National E-Markets Limited, where we use some technologies to increase the shelf life of mangoes also. We have also conducted pilots for export of banana from Kadapa district to Dubai last year. Thanks to pandemic COVID operations, we couldn't do much. So our restarted our operations from November, and we hope to be on track from February onwards. Okay, coming to the subject, all of you know I don't want to go into the detail, but just to brief the agriculture scenario, it is grim. It was grim, it is grim. Hope it will see the light at the end of the day with various initiatives. Uh, you all know almost 80% of the farmers are small farmers. Uh, we have done a survey and we found that at least half of them, 40% of them want to quit farming because it's not profitable, and many of them already quit and come to the urban centers to work as laborers or watchmen and security guards kind of things. Farmers commit suicide also, you know that, and one of the major issue is farmer get only 30% of what we as a consumer pay for the fruits and vegetables. And in spite of various efforts, today the processing of fruits, vegetables, or any agri commodities, just less than 3%. Uh, Almost 35% of the fruits, vegetable perish in the farms itself, staggering more than 1 lakh crore rupees every year. And pandemic period, it was much more, and it was in the 2-3 months itself, it was 45,000 crores in fruits and vegetables. Uh, Produce from the farmers change 7 to 10 hands before it reaches us. And containers after containers are returned due to quality issues, especially in fruits, vegetables, and spices. So the small holders are at very high risk, and thanks to pandemic, the supply chain is also broken. And I know what are all the issues the farmer faced in those 5-6 months. So what is the solution? The solution is to catalyze the agri-food supply chain through an integrated and inclusive intervention framework. And we need to integrate and demonstrate the effective of interventions. That's what the consortium approach that we are talking about. Any questions? Yeah. So just to take back again, if we have to ask a question to ourselves, are efforts or resources lacking in Indian agriculture? The obvious answer is no. We have very favorable weather across the year for most of the seasons. We have quite a few new agri-tech companies have come, and a lot of funds are flowing to them. Most of them are young graduates from the institutions and doing a great work. We are working with many of them now. And also there is a well organized public and private sector in the input and can please mute. We also have a well established agri research both at a government level and private sector also. Hello, can you all please mute the mic? If it is emergency, please go out and talk. Please don't disturb us. Sorry. And if you look at the policies from the government, last 2 years has been pretty good. Not only the policies have changed, and also the enough funding has also been assured for the agri and agribusiness sector. So the resources are not lacking, the efforts are not lacking, but still the farmers are unhappy, the government is unhappy, the industry is unhappy. As a consumer, you and me are all very unhappy because we are paying a very high price, and many a time the quality is not there, and you don't get what you want at the right time, kind of thing. And thanks to COVID, the supply chain is also broken. What is the reason for all these things? See, we have been in this industry and we have been analyzing the reasons. 4 major reasons are contributing to this chaos in agri industry. First one is all the stakeholders, be it the government or the research institution or tech company or established industry or a marketing company or financial institutions. They all work in their own silos, are working in their own islands. They are unable to come out of it and reach the small farmers or the major farmers because of many constraints. The constraints can be funds, constraint can be technology, it can be manpower, anything. But the fact remains that they remain in their own islands and they are not able to reach beyond their island. Size of the island may be small or big based on the size of your organization. The second major problem is small farmers, fragmented farmers. 80% farmers are small, and in that at most 40 to 50% are not owning the land. They're tenant farmers. Average size of Indian farmers is less than 1 hectare. So the major technologies cannot be practically implemented in small sizes because not only the size, they grow different crops with the different seeds and so many other issues. Third, most important is the inefficient and complex supply chain. Too many people, too many things, and most inefficient supply chain. As I said earlier, more than 78 hands are involved between the farmer and the dining table. Last, certainly not the least, the technology is not reaching the farmers. Many technologies have been developed earlier also, and now the AG tech companies are mushrooming, I would use the way, every day. And they have come out with a lot of very, very good products, but they are not able to reach the farmer. One is the last mile connect. Two, the farmers are still, illiterate. Three, though the internet facilities are there, many of these apps need a smartphone. Four, the farmers themselves are not aware of the benefits of using these technologies. So these are the four reasons why the technology is not reaching. Because of this, the productivity is not coming, and the farmers are not able to get the quality and also link to the market. So these are all this is the problem, and these are all the reasons. So what is the solution? Yes, as I said, the issue is fragmentation. Obviously, the solution is aggregation, and aggregation is happening in a major way nowadays. Earlier, the cooperative societies were there. Now it is changed as a farmer producer organizations, FPOs or FPCs, farmer producer companies. And most of them, which have been dormant or not working, thanks to COVID, have come together, and already they have seen the benefit of working together and collaboration. A lot of FPOs have started doing marketing on their own during the COVID period, and now they are continuing to do it. So the farmer producer company is going to be the norm in the years to come. And government is also supporting them in terms of finances and subsidies, also helping them to form the company and running it on the management kind of thing. And as we have seen, at least 10,000 such farmer companies are going to be launched in this financial so by the government of India. And we have been working with a couple of APOs for the last 3 4 years, and we have found that that is the best solution to solve the fragmentation issues. The other issue is reaching the products, services, or technology to the farmers, and that's what we are calling it as a TAP consortium, an agri ecosystem platform. This is a platform which is both physical as well as digital, and it is physical to the extent it is in the near the farm gate, that is in the farmer producer organization premises, where you have physical infrastructure for collection, for handling the agro advisories, uh, retail input shops kind of thing, and also people, human resources to deliver the products and services, both physical as well as digital to the farmers. So the what we say, the small farmer is the focus. We have the organizations for at one side, be it the government or corporates, marketing companies, universities. Other side is the resources, which are the inputs and finance and kind of thing. The one side is the technologies, various technologies, starting right from soil to the shelf. Then there are various services to the farmers, which are advisories, input, marketing, quality assurance, financial kind of thing. So this is what we are calling as a ecosystem platform, where everybody converge and then cooperate together and then provide all the product services or technologies to the farmer. This is what we have formed, and then we are running it on a pilot. So it is a small folder centric, integrated with marketing as an ecosystem, which is enabled and supported by ICTs. Technology is the backbone, but it is not the end in itself. We always believe that technology is required to improve the quality of the services, to reduce the cost, and also make it seamless and cost effective and timely deliveries. But technology alone cannot help to make farming profitable. We need the other supports, including funds and handholding the farmers to realize the benefits of all these. So this is in short, that's what we call as Janani's TAP consortium business model. If you can compare it with a four-legged stool, and one leg of the stool is the farmers and FPOs. The second one is the consortium partners that we have brought into the table. Then third most important is the marketplace, and obviously the technology is the fourth pillar of the construction. So these four together provide tech-based products and services to the farmers. And top of it, we have the market access and operations platform. In short, you can say this is the Amazon of Indian agriculture. Amazon does have a e-commerce platform. One side the sellers are there, and the other side buyers are there, and they connect and do a lot of logistics and financial services for exchange of products. Here, agriculture is just not a product. You also have the services and technology. So it is little more important, complex than the simple e-commerce platform. One. Two, here, one hand, the farmer become the buyer of the products and services like fertilizers or seeds or financial services. Other side, the farmer also become the seller of his output. So here it's a two-way platform. Uh, you have both buyers and sellers at one side of the platform, and you have farmer who performs both roles of both as a buyer and the seller. So to that extent, it is slightly complex, but you can easily, for clarity, it's a simple Amazon of agriculture to make it as simple as possible. And we have also analyzed that, when you are talking about products or services, there are so many sub-segments and so many stakeholders are there. I'm not going into that, but what we have identified is almost 100 subsectors for products or services there in agri value chain. So we work on the value chain concept. So when we talk value chain, we are talking right from soil up to the shelf. So you have multiple stakeholders and multiple which will be again for sake of convenience divided into three phases. For the pre-production area phase, where we enable farmers to do the soil testing, nursery getting the seedlings from the nurseries, planning the crop and land preparation. The second phase is the production phase, where we are helping the farmers on transplanting, irrigation management, nutrition management, pest and disease management, and agronomic practices. So you ensure that the quality of the output is the best, and also there is a lesser cost of production, and the farmer gets a better yield and better price. And post-production is the third phase, where we facilitate the farmers through the FPCs again, I repeat, got grading, sorting, packing, procurement, transport, and marketing. So it's a holistic solution, a framework, starts from the soil to the seeds to the marketing. So some of the new age technologies that, as I said, we are trying to bring in. Some of them we already started piloted. Broadly in area of blockchain, satellite imagery based, uh, artificial intelligence, machine learning, GIS based services, uh, drones, Internet of Things. Most of them are IoTs and mobile based, app based products. And most importantly, what we are trying to bring over a period of 2 to 3 years, gathering a lot of data on our various activities of the farmers and the stakeholders, so that we have a huge data available to analyze and then create more and more products or improve the existing products kind of thing. So the big data and blockchain will be the major two technology-based things that we are planning to adopt uh, the whole value chain right from the soil. We have already got partners for most of them, and we are in the development stage as far as the blockchain and the big data is concerned. But other things we have, uh, like image-based advisories, AIM, and all, we already introduced using our partner organizations. And most importantly, the supply chain problem is very high in the perishables because of the perishability. So in our supply chain solution, we are including order management, traceability, logistics, fresh inspection. When I say inspection, we are using app-based, IoT-based equipment, so that before the harvest only we will be able to understand what kind of quality the farmer is going to deliver, so that we are able to understand the buyer's requirements and connect to them, and so many other things. As I said, we are working on a blockchain where we have already identified the various stakeholders and various services to be added through the blockchain for the stakeholders. And we are also divided into various modules based on the production to marketing phase of the crop. I'm not getting into the details. Still, it is in the development stage. Okay, to start this, having actually this idea came to our team's mind in the month of March when the problem started with the pandemic, and then we are more or less shut down. Not more or less, we have practically shut down and have no operations. So we were thinking, what to do and how to come out of all this and what is the reason kind of things. That's the time this concept of forming a consortium and developing a platform and all of us collaborate and then come together and deliver the product services to the farmers. So this idea we bounced on some of our own contacts in the network and kind of things. And there was a good response. They said, yes, this is a good model. It can work. We can proceed further. And believe me or not, we conducted one webinar in the end of May to bounce the idea and see how the people are there. Actually, to be honest, I thought 10 to 12 organizations known to me will join that webinar and do it. But it's almost 50 plus companies, more than 100 people have joined that webinar and then shared the interest and kind of things. End of it, after talking to them individually, we have identified 24 products or services segment out of the 100 plus we have, which are critical to start immediately. Almost 38, this is the old slide, we have more than that companies. Close to about 70 different products and services have expressed their interest to join us. So it was a very, very good beginning, and with that we started entering into MOUs and understanding each other's requirements and kind of things. Then started a pilot. So this is some of the companies who have shown the interest, and it's only a select list. So if you see, you have the big names like Walmart and NEC, UPL and Bayers and NCML in one side. You have government support from SFAC and the University of California coming to help us out and kind of things. And we have many startup organizations in AGTech also joining us at the other end. So it was a good selection, not selection, expression of interest to become our partner in the area. All this was happening in the month of July, August. Then just to give you more information, we have divided that into various different categories like farm registration, management, soil management, irrigation, seeds, inputs, bio inputs, advisories, farmer information, weather information, insurance, banking, financial services, supply chain management, qualities, RSAing, marketing, food processing, cold chain, last mile deliveries, physical deliveries, certification like organic and GAP, blockchain, big data, FUO connects, outreach, academic kind of things. So, sorry. So we have identified the subsegments, we identified the partners, and we, as I said, we have more than 40 partners signed with us. And today we have already launched the pilot in 2 of our FUOs. One is Sri Vigneshwara Farmer Producer Company. They are operating in Chagatipadu village in Krishna district, about 30 kilometers from Vijayawada. This is one of the oldest and pioneering FEC in the country. Has about 600 plus farmers. This is about 7 years old as a limited company, but they have been operating as a cooperative thing for almost 10 years. 10 villages are covered by this FEC, and the farmers predominantly grow banana, turmeric, and vegetables. They do have, why did we choose them? Because they already have infrastructure like 20-ton capacity of ripening chambers, 5-ton capacity cold showroom, input shop, banana action center, and they're also establishing an integrated pack house. So this is the area where we launched the pilot with some of our partners in the month of October. And we also launched in a small way for the chili farmers in Guntur district, which is called Achambeta Farmer Producer Company Limited. This is a fairly new FEC where we have 500 shareholders, majorly doing chilies and cotton. And we have started agri retail inputs with them, and collection value addition is being planned for this year, maybe sometime next week onwards. So these are the two areas where we are piloting the thing. And some of our farmers, some of the partner organizations who have joined us to actually work in the field. We are working with all of them in the field today. And some of them are also part of this event in this today's meeting. And it's my first duty to thank all of them for supporting us, supporting Janani in the pilot, in spite of various difficulties that we have faced. And we have unstinted support from all of them. So thanks to them again. It's a right platform that I should thank them also. So here again, if you are talking about farmer and farmer management, we are working with TransCity, Bloom, and Devara. Farm advisory service, we are working with the Scientific, AgriSmartTech, and NEC. Financial services, Jai Kisan. We have already funded close to about 80 lakhs of rupees in the last 1 month to our farmer members. And WRMS, we have done a small pilot for the banana farmers in the FEC. And they have benefited. There was unseasonal rain in the month of December, and whoever has taken the insurance for about 800 rupees is getting the benefit of about 10,000 rupees now. So the pilots have been proving successful. For new age technologies, we are talking to Belinda and NextOrbit. Inputs, we are working with Bayer, UPL, Anant Varsha Foundation, Taurus, just to name few of them. And people like Anant and Taurus, they are in the bio sector. They have developed quite a few new bio-based products which have been piloted in these two FEC's areas, and farmers are very, very happy with the result they are getting it, and we are planning to go commercial. Agri marketing, we are just starting. We already signed up with Walmart and also Kalgudi. We are also talking to Reliance and Big Basket and others also. Quality assaying, here this is the difference again. Quality assaying is done at the field level as well as at the FPO level. We are using the apps and other IoT based devices developed by InfiU Labs and AgroGrade people. Already for tomato, we are able to do it very well, and we are planning to introduce it for chili also this season and other vegetables. SFS is supporting us, and most importantly, the initiative of UC Berkeley, University of California. They have a small village movement based in Andhra Pradesh. It's an NGO, and they have been supporting us a lot. And together, we are also trying to get an MOU signed with the Andhra marketing department to establish marketing support to the farmers in, as a kind of a collaborative model, where we are also planning to establish training centers for the FEOs, directors, CEOs of the FEOs, and farmers, agribusiness people kind of thing. Quite a few milestones have been achieved in the pilot so far. Mind it, it has been started only in October, and the pandemic problems are still there. We have resource concerns, both finance as well as manpower. But still, I think with available resources, I would say the pilots have been fairly successful. And the pilot will end the end of the season, and we are sure we will be able to showcase much better. Just to say the success story so far is we are working with about 1,500 farmers in this consortium collaboration model. We have other FUOs, more than 10,000 farmers who are not part of this. This is only the pilot 2 FECs that we are talking about. And they produce banana, mango, vegetable, chilies, and turmeric. As I explained, some of the app-based applications are already used by the farmers. We have provided insurance on banana farmers, and they have benefited also. Our input finance has close to about 80 lakhs has already been being given to the farmer FEOs and the farmer members. Bio inputs successfully completed for at least 4 of the partner organizations. Direct marketing linkages in the pipeline. This is a success story that we have right now. Okay, the question is always what will be the revenue source and who is going to pay for it. So as we move, this is a pilot. We are not many of rather none of my partners are charging for their services. Most of them are working free of cost, thanks to them. Some of them are working below cost or on cost. The collaboration model or the pilot for this two FECs is not for profit. It's not for profit. It's to establish the concept. The concept is simple. Agribusiness organizations and other organizations can come together and deliver the products and services to the farmers through the FEOs seamlessly, and all the stakeholders, be it the farmer, the FEO, Janani Consortium, the partners, the government, or the consumers, are all benefited. It should be a win-win situation for all the stakeholders. That is what the proof of the concept that we are trying to do. We can come together, we can deliver, and all of will make will achieve their objectives. I would say that. Or okay, our plan is to increase it post pilot this year. Next season, increase it to more and more FUOs across Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Odisha, and Tamil Nadu. The revenue source will be can be subscription services. The farmers may pay for it. We are working on that. Maybe very marginal, not very high. Maybe 200, 300 rupees per acre kind of thing for the season. Management services from FECs, maybe 5,000 rupees a year or 10,000 a year for using the various technologies, apps, and kind of thing. Trading margin in the agri inputs, which will be shared between the input companies, FECs, and farmers.
Sir.
Yeah.
Sir, last 30 seconds we lost you. Could you just repeat the last 30 seconds?
Where did you lose?
You were talking about how farmers the consortium model has to go ahead and some.
This slide was okay.
Yeah, this slide was okay. The next slide. So you were just talking about the final pilot.
Okay. So as I said, we have started working from October in one FEC and from December in the other FEC. We are today working with around 1,500 farmers in the two FECs. They produce fruits, banana, mango, various vegetables, dry chilies, and turmeric in the spice sector. Some of the app-based applications, both at the farm level and at the FEO level, have been piloted and farmers have started using it. We have provided insurance service through WRMS, and banana farmers who opted for it have been benefited. They paid a premium of around 750 to 1,000 rupees, and the benefit is something around 10,000 rupees due to the unseasonal rains in the month of end December, early November, early December. So insurance, other than the government insurance, even the private insurance we have introduced, and it benefited the farmers. We have also provided agri finance to the farmer members, thanks to Jai Kisan, one of our major partners. We already disbursed around 70 lakhs of rupees in the last 1 month or so. Many bio input pilots have been conducted, at least 10 to 12 pilots have been conducted, and farmers are very, very happy. They see that the new products developed by the new agri bio companies who are startups kind of thing, where they have different kinds of inputs, technologies, and all. So we have been able to showcase it, and farmers are very happy, and they are very, very cost sensitive also, and we will see a very big response and commercial operations for them next season. We have established marketing linkages. We are just about to start the marketing. As I said, we have signed up with the Walmart and Reliance and Kalgudi kind of thing. So the marketing, again, we are looking into B2B, B2C, exporters, processors kind of thing also. So this has been the success stories, I would say. It's very brief for the short time. By maybe end of March, we'll be able to share more data, and also the in terms of the quality and outputs and kind of things.
Right. Thank you so much, sir. Yeah. So this slide was okay, sir. So there are a few questions that have come from the participants, sir. Can I go ahead?
Slides, then we can take it.
Okay, sure, sir. I'm so sorry.
Just 2-3 slides more.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I thought it's over. Okay.
No. Okay. So now for the pilot, the partners are giving, most of them are giving free of cost, especially the app-based applications and IoT-based applications. But going forward, we would like to work on a public-private partnership kind of thing for profit. And the pilots, instead of a couple of FEOs, will go into hundreds of FEOs. Farmers will move from thousands to lakhs kind of thing, and one state to many states kind of thing over a period of 2 to 3 years. So what will be the revenue stream for this kind of thing? One can be the subscription from the farmers. we can charge the farmers 500 rupees, 300 rupees per acre for the season kind of thing. That's one possibility. Might be difficult. Farmers doesn't want to pay for services. But we can definitely charge service charge from the FPOs, FECs for the services they use. Major money will come for the consortium from the agri input trading and also the marketing margins. And also the platform can charge the service providers who in turn get the money from the users of their services kind of thing. So we have identified the revenue source. One part of the pilot is also to study what will be the various revenue streams that is available and whether the partners or rather the consumer who is using that is willing to pay. If yes, how much kind of thing. So that is also another proof of concept we wanted to make. What we want to prove is that this is a business model and there is money and there is a revenue stream and profit for each of them. So going forward, we are planning to expand it to almost another 15 to 20 FUOs immediately because the mango season is starting and spices season are starting. We already identified many farmers in the Andhra Pradesh area to be part of it. We are also working on increasing the shelf life of the fruits and vegetables. We have already done a lot of work in the last 2 years, and we have showcased that the shelf life can be increased by 2 to 3 weeks. And the FUOs are also helped us in this pilot. So this technology which increases the shelf life, see today the fruits, vegetables, fresh ones go to the neighboring countries in Middle East or Southeast by air. The cost of the raw material or the fruit vegetable is 30-40 rupees a kg. The air freight is more than 150 to 200 rupees a kg, which doesn't add much value. Whereas with our technology, when we are able to increase the shelf life, we can send by the sea freight, either from Chennai port or Vizag port or from Mumbai port, and still we will be able to reach highly fresh produce to the consumers in the neighboring countries at a very, very low cost. The logistics cost from 150 rupees can come down to 25 to 30 rupees. We already developed the technology. You can see the jasmine flower shelf life has been increased, which is hardly 2 days has gone up by 10 to 12 days. We are also able to develop not for fresh, cut fresh. We are also able to use it for salads, a fruit salad or a vegetable salad. So we can give fruit salad or a vegetable salad, fresh ones, right from the farm to the consumers anywhere in the world. And we are over a period of time plan to develop our own brands. We call it as SAFRESH, safe and fresh for healthy shelf life. That's it. This is what we are planning to do, which we have been doing and we plan to do for the next 2 months and maybe a couple of years. So we are looking for people who can join us to meet the challenges of the new normal in Indian agriculture. Thanks for your questions. Now we can tackle the questions.
Thank you so much, sir. Actually, there were a lot of questions from participants. In your presentation, you have actually given the answers to them, few of them. There is one question from participant, Mr. Rupesh. He's asked, how has Janani Foods developed a strong sourcing base for agro products? In general, he also wants to know how to develop a strong sourcing base for agro products. If you could answer that.
Yeah. That is the most challenge. One is, as I said, the challenge is the small farmers. Most challenge is making the farmers believe you. This doesn't happen overnight. You have to be present with them and work with them in the field. And one of the major strengths of Janani is we have been working with the farmers right from our inceptions, thanks to the collaboration that we had with IIIT Hyderabad, the ESAGU project, and also through other initiatives like working with ICICI Bank lending and various other, I can say NGO-based and government-based organizations. So we understand what works with the farmer, or rather I would say in spite of so many years, I would say we still don't know what will work with the farmer, but we can definitely say what will not work with the farmer. This farmers will never accept. That we can say very, very confidently. Certain other things we may have to try, and because it's the mindset of farmer is very, very different from the normal people. and they have influences from the other external resources. So to answer this question specifically, you have to work with them for sufficient time, number one. Number two, you have to prove your credibility. Fortunately for us, at Janani, when we started, we didn't have any credibility, honestly. But the partners like IIIT, Government of Andhra Pradesh, Government of Telangana, ICICI Bank, NCML, the big names, IBM, they were with us and they have been with us. With that, we are able to uh, work with the farmers, and we also able to understand what the farmer needs. So in any business, ultimately what the consumer wants, you have to give. So we are able to understand what the farmer wants, and we are able to deliver it. And that's the reason why we are able to get this farmer base. And over a period of time, the FUO FEC concept has really helped us to scale up the farmer level contacts. Yeah, does it answer?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
There's one more question.
Perseverance. That's it. Yeah.
So you have mentioned about working with FPOs and FPCs, and we also see that Government of India is going to promote a lot more FPOs in the coming years, especially in previous financial budget. Also, it was mentioned. So how do you view the role of FPOs in the post-pandemic agriculture space? How do you view the role of FPOs?
In fact, many of the FUOs, even who were dormant, have become alive during the pandemic. That's what I have seen. And at least my own FUOs, found ways of doing direct deliveries to the farmers in Vijayawada, in Mumbai, in Guntur. So they, with the help of course, some of the organizations, NGOs, as well as the government support. So the farmers and the FOs also have realized that this is the way forward. They can overcome the other supply chain constraints, and also the, I don't want to name the issues like APMC issues and kind of things. So this is not what it's not that what government is saying 10,000 farmers or whatever the support. I think in next 3 to 4 years, this is the way things are going to happen. No more individual farmers working on their own kind of thing. More and more farmers have realized the benefit. The FEOs FECs have become very, very active, and the earlier stories are no more will be there, and a lot of handholding is being done. Quite a few corporates have joined in helping handholding the FPOs, I would say that. And even the promoters are, nowadays, or PWCs, EYs, GTs kind of thing. Government is moving to the multinational companies also to help them in developing the FPOs. And at least Andhra Pradesh is now going to establish a training center for the FPOs, the chairman, the BODs, the CEOs of the FPOs. So, yes, this is going to be FEO or FEC is the norm, going to be the way forward, no doubt about it. And they are tasting success now. One good thing of the pandemic is, yes, the benefits of FEOs are seen.
So, Mr. Katta Gopichand, he has asked, are the products of Janani Foods organic or normal conventional products?
Except turmeric, we do have a FEO producing organic turmeric. All others are normal chemicals. And some part of the FEO in Telangana area are producing IPM grade, integrated pest management grade chilies, where the pesticide residue levels are within the allowable standards of the international market. And IPM quality is our focus as far as the field is concerned. We are promoting this for quite some time now. We are convincing the farmer that qualities are major issues, and they have to use a lesser and lesser amount of chemicals, and also use more and more of organic inputs, and make it close. We are certainly, we would like to make, I would like to make it clear, we are not into organic. We are into, we can call it as pesticide residue standards which meet the global requirements. Our farmers do use chemicals, but we advise them to use judiciously, right chemicals at the right place, and try to mix more with the bio inputs, so that the quality is maintained, the residue issues will not be there, and the quantity, yield, and the price benefits are also there for the farmers.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Vijay has asked, So what kind of opportunities, because you work in the value chain, supply chain, so what kind of opportunities are there for technology interventions in the agri food farm to fork value chain? You have mentioned about how startups and technology interventions are required. If you could just answer to his question.
As I said, we have already, the demo I have said, shown, and almost 60% of my consortium partners are tech based. And we are using technology right from soil testing to control the irrigation, to provide satellite-based weather information. We are using IoT-based quality verifications. We are using apps. We enable farmers to get advisories. The same apps farmers are using to find out what are the inputs available in the retail shop of the FPO. The same app is used by the FPO to understand what kind of quantity that can be delivered by the farmer and when can it be delivered. And we are using some of the not IT technology, but new biotechnologies to do better bioproducts. Most of the bio products are dry or powder or liquid in nature. One of my partners is giving a very fresh bio input, which can be used so that the productivity is very high. So another partner is giving bio pest control equipments, which are very effective kind of thing. So yes, 50% of my partners are tech-based, and they have very good products. And only they are quite new and not used to the formal levels kind of thing. So we are trying to help them out. But I think more and more farmers are turning into technology, and AgTech has a major role to play in doubling the farmer increase. Okay, whether you call it doubling or whatever it is, to increase the productivity, quality, yes, AgTech going to play a major role in the days to come.
Sir, there are at least 3 participants who have written that they work with FPOs or they are part of FPOs, like Krishi Vardhini Agro Producer Company, and someone, Mr. Sevan Goleru, has written about working with Janani Foods, and someone, Mr. Uppe Raja Rao, also has written that he works with 8 FPOs in in Godavari district. So is there a way for all these FPOs to contact Janani Foods?
Yes.
Can you share how to do that, sir?
In the chat box, I am sharing my contact numbers. They can WhatsApp me or send their details through the mail. Then we'll take it up from there.
Or do you want me to share your mail ID with everyone, sir?
You can. You are free to.
Okay, I will do that, sir. I will do that. Ms. Rajul Patkar, you can ask your question.
Yeah, hello.
Hi,
hello,
madam.
Sundararajan sir. How are you?
Yeah, so just to introduce, she is one of our partner, and she will be shortly implementing her products also in the field. So first, thanks to her for joining us. Yeah.
So actually, I also know Rajul ma'am. Ma'am, do you remember me, Krishna?
I know Krishna, so I was a bit confused. Is it you, same Krishna, or is it somebody different? So yeah, hi Krishna.
How, ma'am? Ma'am, carry on, ma'am.
Yeah. So, sir, what I wanted to understand, see, apart from whatever we have been discussing, apart from that, I also want to, because there are a lot of participants here from Andhra and Telangana. See, I want to implement, I have some kind of, project from Niti Aayog, where I want to implement a solution for, I want to develop a solution, and not, I would say develop a solution for late blight in potato, which is, I think, mostly developed, mostly grown in Andhra, if you have to say, in the Araku region, right? Because I'm not so sure, because there are a lot of people here, maybe. So that is what I want to do, develop a solution for disease prediction using this our sensors, and maybe work with FPO, and I want some ground team who will be able to help me implementing that.
To answer your question, I have no answer, because to my knowledge, potato is Andhra is not a major potato. Maybe Araku, I'm not sure. I will have to check.
Okay.
But if anyway, you have raised the question, I will also spread the message. If any of the FPOs in our contact comes, we will definitely work together and identify.
Yeah, and apart from that, okay, so I also want to understand, so in case in Andhra, what are the kinds of, let's say, solutions which farmers are, I mean, with respect to technology? So which are those crops where the disease is a major problem? So because I want to develop a solution for prediction of these diseases.
In fact, that's a great thing, and we should work together on that. Chili is major crop where the pest attack is very high. Mango, and also banana and vegetables,
Okay.
different vegetables. So any horticulture crop and
Okay.
spice crop have major issues with pest, and pest prediction would be a great thing for the farmers. So it's not, so what we should do is not only pest prediction and also the solutions for that.
Yes, yes,
Together.
exactly. Both prediction and solutions.
And
So all
solutions
that.
should be offered as a package deal to the farmers. It will work.
Yeah. So is there any FPOs currently in our current talk right now who would be interested in implementing, let's say, this solution in chilies?
Yes, certainly. We are okay. We are conducting the pilot in one particular area. Anyway, it is the end of the season. Harvesting started, so there may not be major testing, but we can work together. We have 5 FPOs in chili,
Okay.
and 2 in mango, and vegetables. Another 10 to 12 are joining us also. So we can work and develop the models on the pest prediction. Solutions are much simple. The agronomists will be able to give the solutions very easy.
Yes,
That's not
yes,
hard.
yes.
It's only
So that's
linking the industry to them. So we can definitely work, plan a work on developing a tech platform for pest prediction. Yes.
yeah. So I'll discuss with you because we have got some partial funding and they also expect some partial something, a partial kind of a thing from the partner. So we will work, we'll discuss that later.
Yeah,
So
this
thanks.
is a major area. As you, okay, many of them are from Andhra. There is a major pesticide residue issues in Eluru and Krishna district also, in some part of
Okay.
Krishna district. So pesticide is hot cake, at least in Andhra Pradesh. If we can come
Okay.
out with some solution, we can expect support from various other agencies also.
Yeah, and I would like to say here, which we are coming up with one more new product, which will be kind of a glucometer for soil, that nutrient management, which I have discussed with you earlier. But since there are, and I would also like the way you have given a call, I would also like if like-minded people are the students and anybody interested to work with this consortium, they are most welcome. So I am from
Ma'am, actually, Rajul ma'am, I
yeah.
was thinking that why don't we have, similar to how Sundarajan sir has given his talk, why don't we have a talk for soil sense?
Sure, sure. I'll be more than happy to
So I'll send you an invite, ma'am. I'll send you an invite so that you can talk about it.
sure.
There is someone with the username 9C5219F8. I don't know who is. He has raised his hand. Sir, do you have a question? Is there anyone who would like to ask a question now? You could unmute your mic and state your name and ask the question. No one else asking question. I would like to ask you, sir, because you were someone who was working, but you have developed this entire organization on your own as an entrepreneur. Like you changed from becoming an employee to to someone who provides employment. So there are youngsters who also have ambitions of becoming entrepreneurs. Any final word, any advice you would like to give to youngsters entering into this sector?
Yes, you want to do it when you are young. Because I started it at a much later stage of my life, and there are commitments to the family, financial commitments in terms of other things. So if you are clear in your mind, and if you are willing to struggle for at least 4 to 5 years without any financial constraint for a day-to-day activity for your life, and with some limited capital, some financial support from friends, relatives, or others, the right time is to start at a very young age. Still, 1 or 2 years of experience in the industry will definitely help you to understand how the industry works. A fresher, I wouldn't suggest. Many of the freshers from IITs, IIFs who have started are struggling. I have seen that because they have not understood how the industry practically works. In spite of education at the highest level, what experience teaches, the institutions cannot teach in a classroom. They due respect to the institutions and the professors, but a field experience of couple of years, not more than that, will tell you uh, how the industry works, how the consumers, and you should be very clear in what you want to do. There should be a clarity of thought. That this is the as everybody teach when you develop a business plan. What is the product? What is the need for it? Who is the consumer? Will they pay for it? Kind of thing. So you should do a small survey to understand that the idea that you have or the product that you wanted to develop has a market. There is a paying consumer, and it will pay over a period of time. Yes, we can do, and now, okay, when we guys started, there is nobody to support us in terms of technology, and now you have a number of incubators across the country, and even in a place like Hyderabad, you have more than 10, including ISBs and the government supported incubation centers kind of thing. So it's the right time if you want to be an entrepreneur, and since most all of you are from agri business, why do you want to work? You start doing business.
Thank
But
you so much, sir.
it's not easy. It's going to be tough. Not all succeed. You need
Yes,
perseverance.
sir.
You need hard work. Great shock absorbers. You should be having.